The beautiful city of Kuala Lumpur, the Malaysian capital, a bustling metropolis where preparations are well underway for the Chinese New Year. A city that boasts the world-famous Petronas towers that at night light up the Kuala Lumpur sky. And a city also famed for the Kuala Lumpur Tower, KL Tower. And in sporting terms, Malaysia famed by the world's #1 badminton player, Lee Chong Wei. Hello and welcome to the Putra Stadium for finals day at the Proton Malaysia Open, the first of the 12 tournaments that make up the 2011 awesome BWF World Superseries. 5 finals for you this afternoon. We're starting with mixed doubles. As you can see, it's an all-Chinese affair. Following this, we will have men's doubles, and the Danes, Conrads Peterson and Jonas Rasmussen, in their first ever Super Series final, up against a Chinese pair playing in their first ever tournament together. Then women's singles will follow that, so the world #1 and 2 contesting the final. Women's doubles will follow the women's singles with a repeat of the Asian Games final, that thrilling final in Guangzhou. And then the last of our 5 finals, the world #1, the defending champion, the home favourite, Lee Chong Wei, will be up against the former world and Olympic champion, Taufik Hidayat. I'm Jill Clark, sitting alongside Ian Wright, former head coach to the England team, and as the players make their way onto court, Jiaming and Tian. Jiaming, of course, is the holder of this mixed doubles title. Won it a year ago with Shang Yawen, beating Danes in the final. Well, there is confirmation of our order of play. They're confirming that after this mixed doubles, we'll have men's doubles and then women's singles, and that's one I'm especially looking forward to, with the world #1, Wang Yihan, up against the Asian Games gold medalist, Wang Shixian. Then women's doubles and a repeat of the Asian Games final, and that was an hour and 13 minutes of pulsating badminton. Women's doubles of the very, very highest quality. And then the last of the finals, the men's singles, featuring Lee Chong Wei going for a record-breaking 7th title here at the Malaysian Open, up of course against the former world and Olympic champion, Taufik Hidayat. Well, as I say, I'm Jill Clark alongside Ian Wright, and Ian, it is a terrific lineup for this afternoon's finals.
Yes, there's some great matches this afternoon. What a way to start the year. And as you say, particularly interested in the two ladies events, I have to say. That ladies singles looks a really interesting affair. Wang Yihan, #1 in the world, of course, not selected for the Asian Games, playing Wang Shixian, who won the Asian Games. I'm sure there'll be a little internal battle going on there.
Absolutely, but let's concentrate first of all on the mixed doubles, the all-Chinese affair. And there is the defending champion, Jiaming, 25 years of age. He's a tall man, 1.87 m, and as I say, won the title a year ago playing with Zhang Yawen, who retired after the World Championships in Paris. His partner this year, Tian. She is 24 years of age, and appearing in 2 finals this afternoon. Hence mixed doubles first, and her women's doubles, where she's playing with Zhao Yunlei, 4th match on. So their opponents, well, there's Ma Jin, 22-year-old from Qingdao in Shandong province. She was, of course, runner-up at the Malaysian Open a year ago in the women's doubles. But this man, Hanbin, turned 25 earlier this month. Hanbin, a former champion of the mixed doubles here at the Malaysia Open. That was in 2008 when he was playing with Yu Yang. So our court officials for the first of our finals. But let me tell you, first of all, I think it's very significant, Ian, that Jiaming and Tian played their opponents twice previously, won both of them. And the last time was at the China Open. It was the semi-final of the China Open. Both of their 2 previous encounters have gone the full distance, gone to 3 games. But for Tao and Tian, their first 3 matches, Ian, in this year's tournament, they were pushed the full distance. First round against Nova Widianto and Vita Marisa, then against Yu Yeong-seong and Kim Min-jung of Korea. Then in the quarterfinals against the number 4 seeds Cheng Hung-lin and Cheng Wen-sing of Taipei. Each of those matches, 3 tough games. Do you think that'll take its toll for today's final?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure that will have an effect on it, but I think the 2 previous matches may. It's a very interesting matchup tactically. Tao and Tian rely more on Tao from the rear court to make the play. He actually plays with a lot of variety, whereas on the other side of the court, Hanbin relies on his power and physicality around the court. So there's a little contrast between the male players. And on one side you've got the male player that's more of the playmaker, and on the other side it's the female player in the form of Ma Jin, who's a super mixed player and really tactically very astute. So a very interesting contrast in styles.
Yes, it certainly is. And just to remind you of what happened yesterday in their semi-finals, and this pair, the number 5 seeds Tao Jiaming and Tian Qing, overcame qualifiers, British combination of Robert Blair and Gabby White, overcame them in 2 straight games. What a tremendous result for the British pair to battle through the qualifying and then reach the semi-final. As far as Hanbin and Ma Jin, who are the far side of the court as we look now, they overcame the number 6 seeds Joachim Fischer-Nielsen and Christina Pedersen from Denmark. And very sadly, Joachim Fischer-Nielsen had to withdraw injured in the second game. They'd lost the first, the Danes.
Martin, China. And on my left, Jiaming, Tian, China. Tian to serve to Hanbin. Level play.
So the number 5 seeds Tao Jiaming and Tian Qing, not the start that they would have wanted, up against the number 7 seeds Hanbin and Ma Jin. Well, that's unusual from Hanbin. A nice little block. We've just been singing his praises on his powerful game. Oh, there's another delicate little guided shot. Oh, it's a brilliant start by the number 7 seeds.
Yes, and it was feature of the semi-final, the quality of the low service of Ma Jin, and already she's imposing that on this game here.
There's Ma Jin and Hanbin. Only pushed the full distance once in their 4 previous matches. That was in the quarterfinal against the number 2 seeds Ko Sung-hyun and Ha Jung-eun of Korea. Goodness me, they are sharp, aren't they?
Yeah, I mean, that's a super serve, forcing Tao into pushing the return of service upwards, and Hanbin, that's his strength. Anything above net height in the mid-court is very, very quick onto, and that was a super finish.
Service over. 1-6.
Ma Jin is, of course, current world champion in the mixed doubles, won the title in Paris with Zheng Bo. just in case you're wondering why she isn't still playing with Jiang Bo, it's because he has departed the National Training Centre. Understood that perhaps his attitude was not what the head coach Lee Yong-bo wanted in daily and weekly training sessions.
Yes, and that's the type of game that Hanbin thrives on.
8-1.
A lot of mid-pace on the mid-court there. Anytime you give Hanbin a little bit of pace on the shuttle, he really enjoys it.
8-1.
Service over. 2-8.
When I first heard that these two were pairing up with each other, Hanbin and Ma Jin, of course, gold and silver medalists from the mixed doubles final at the World Championships, I thought, crikey, it's going to be a heck of a pair. The potential that you've got to assume that a gold and silver medalist have playing together with each other. But I've been slightly critical of them. I've felt that they haven't really shown the potential to me that I believe they have, not in their matches so far.
Yes, I think it will take time for them to gel. Mixed is quite a complex game tactically, and there are a lot of set plays, and the organisation around the first four shots will take some time to get up to the highest level. But it's a slightly different style of partner also for Ma Jin. Zhang Bo played with a lot of variety and was able to mix the game up, where Hanbin is more of a steady player. Great physicality on the court, but not a lot of variety in his game, and it'll take some time for Ma Jin to adjust to that.
Oh, it's landed in. He could have played it.
5-8.
Yeah, clearly in. Ground at the net. Tell Jiaming.
Yes, and that's the variety he brings to the game. Look there, the subtle little block. Ma Jin not ready for that. And then, as you say, stands his ground, is very aggressive on the mid-court. But that's the variety that he brings to the game that maybe Hanbin just lacks a little.
Five straight points. And right back into contention. It's a great rally.
7-8.
Yes, and what they've done well tactically there is they've not allowed Ma Jin to get settled on that front court position. Look at them driving her off the net and eventually finishing the point. Ma Jin trying to move forward. You can see from the position of her racket, she's keeping her racket high, wants to come forward, but they're driving her off the net. Good tactics.
Oh, it's called out. Goodness me.
Service over.
Well, Tian Qing surprised by that.
Yeah, a little unlucky here, but again, Hanbin, you'd have to question where he's smashing there. Close. He smashed that straight into a defensive zone there. She was setting up on the backhand and he hit it straight onto that backhand defence, allowing her the opportunity to counter cross court.
Real battle at the front of the court between Ma Jin and Tian Qing.
9.
Look at them, vying for that supremacy, playing the net shots, little pushes, trying to get on top of the shuttle.
Eight, 9. Play.
Oh, it wasn't the best of low serves, was it? Very loose.
Service over. 10, 8.
Now it's wide. Into the mid-game interval.
Interval.
And the number 7 seeds, Hanbin and Ma Jin, have a 3-point advantage. Now, of course, because two Chinese pairs playing against each other, the Chinese coaching staff won't get involved at all, just leave the players to their own devices. But having started so quickly, Hanbin and Ma Jin, they're just being asked 1 or 2 questions now, aren't they?
Yes, tactically it's an interesting game. As I say, Jiaming brings a lot more variety to the game than a lot of the other Chinese male mixed players. He's very happy to mix the pace up, use the block, occasionally go in and just keep his opponents guessing. And that's a complete contrast to his opponent today, Hanbin, wanting to put pace on the shuttle at every opportunity.
Eleven, 8. Play.
Yeah, clever placement of the smash.
12, 8.
Yeah, we'll see Tian there forced to retreat from the net position, and that makes her vulnerable to the body smash.
Well, she's not happy with herself on that occasion, Ma Jin. Usually her defence is so solid.
Well, I have to say that was a real surprise to me. Ma Jin's defence, for me, is probably one of the better defences in the world today, and it's a rare error on defence.
Yes, when Hanbin was getting into those flat, fast exchanges, that's where he was very good.
9.
Yeah, surprised at Tao taking him on at that game on the mid-court. He must know how good Hanbin is on the mid-court. You see, he puts pace on there, and Hanbin, that comes back with interest. Comes back very quickly, changes the angle, hits to the opposite side of the body and wins the mistake.
Whole rally set up with such a good serve yet again from Ma Jin.
Yeah, I was just about to say it's a real weapon in this match so far. Ma Jin serving so well, and that means her Hanbin can stay very, very high on the court and be very aggressive behind it with the third shot. And that was a very good example there. Yes, more of the same, another super service. It means that both her and her partner are in very aggressive positions afterwards. Tian forced to take that so low, not got any options from down there.
Service over. 10-16.
Well, that's, I think, her first service error of the match.
Yeah, no, we were commenting on it yesterday, Jill. When there isn't any pace on the shuttle on the mid-court, her Hanbin, he just snatch a little bit at the shuttle, and he's not got great touch. And there, we see Tao taking the pace off a little. And her Hanbin just forcing the shuttle wide there. Better tactic from Tao.
Once again, getting drawn into the
17.
flat, fast exchanges, Tao. And he is so good at turning the shuttle and changing the pace. It is surprising that he's allowing himself to play the game that suits his opponent.
Yes, he's just being drawn into it, and I think a lot of it's the quality of Ma Jin on the front court. He's a little bit nervous sometimes when he's not in A1 position to play the block, because he's worried about Ma Jin being very aggressive at the front of the court.
The end of the game, just emphasising your point there. When he's able to take it at shoulder height, he can drive it back with interest.
Yeah, it's lethal from mid-court. Once he gets the shuttle into a position where he's got the shuttle above the net in mid-court, he's one of the hardest hitters in the world. No way back from there.
When you talk about hard hitters, it's interesting. 252. That's just over 155 miles per hour. Hardest smash this week has come from a mixed doubles player, Joachim Fischer-Nielsen, in the semi-final yesterday. That's what you call perfection on the return of serve. Yeah, the tall Dane hit a smash of 281.
Yeah, good touch from Tao there. That's more the sort of game I'd expected to see from him against her Hanbin. Not hitting to him, but taking the pace off and getting the shuttle in front of him. And there we see her Hanbin very slow to react when there's no pace on the shuttle.
Well, it was a desperately short lift from Tao Jiaming. Really invited the winning smash. And it means that the number 7 seeds have 7 game points.
Game.
Well, they only needed the one. 21-13, the opening
First
game.
Won by the Hanbin Martin. 21-13.
Umpire just confirming the scoreline. And it was the wonderful start race to that 8-1 lead. Really did set them on their way to the opening game. Their confirmation, 21-13. Well, I have to say, Ian, from my perspective, it's really good to see the two pairs, when there are no coaches involved, how much they were communicating with each other during that interval. Lots of discussions.
Yes, it's always interesting to see how pairs and players react when there's no coaches around, who responds the best. And looking later on in the day, that will be one of the key questions, I think, around this ladies singles final as well. I think that'll be very interesting to watch who reacts best after the coaching breaks, after the mid-game breaks and the breaks at the end of the sets.
Second game, love ball, play.
So Hanbin and Margin won the Vietnam Grand Prix event last year. That's their only title to date. Looking for their first ever Super Series title. Now, with net shots like that from Margin.
1 love.
Yes, that's a super shot, but Tao there using the block, but possibly at the wrong time. When he used it when Margin was in very good position. And once you let Margin take the shuttle on the front court, that's the sort of touch you can play with. Again, she's building real pressure with the quality of the serving. She's putting a lot of pressure on her opponent's returns. And her Hanbin very, very high on the court.
A much more positive rally from Jiaming. Ian, just want to take note of the fact that Margin took so long before she actually made her hand signal to her partner about where she was going to serve to. And I just wonder, we've got a huge giant screen in the corner of the arena here, the Putra Stadium. And I just wondered if she's waiting to the last moment so that opponents couldn't look at that, look at the hand signal and know what she's going to serve.
Yeah, possibly. It's been noticeable in this match that she's serving with a much slower rhythm than yesterday in the semi-final. She's really taken her time, and she appears to be making her opponents wait deliberately to me, which, so long as the umpire doesn't think that's an unfair advantage, it's an okay tactic. Very often it's a tactic you use against very aggressive returners of service, just to hold them a little bit.
Spring's gone.
Service over.
Jiaming breaking the strings of his racket as he played the defensive shot. That was the one. Immediately looked at his racket. Well, I have to say, there's no doubt that Ma Jin is really, really fired up for this. I thought in one or two tournaments towards the end of last year, she was, by her own aggressive standards, a little bit passive on court, and I wonder if that may have been a result of the fact she got to world #1 in both the women's doubles and the mixed doubles, gold and a silver medal at those World Championships in Paris, and then immediately after those World Championships lost both of her partners with whom she was ranked #1 in the world.
Yes, changing partnerships is always a difficult time, and it has an effect on you. You build up like an automatic reactions to where to go when you hit certain shots with partners, and when you change partners you lose that rhythm, and sometimes you have to hesitate a fraction to see what your partner's doing because you're not sure, and that can just make you look a little bit slower than you actually are. And I would tend to agree with you. She didn't look the same player with the new partners just before Christmas, but she's looked better this week.
It was a good interception and the right shot, the little block to the centre of the net area, 254.
Yeah, good rally, really interesting rally. Both pairs trying to get control of the net position to force the lift. A lot of variety. It's good from her, Hanbin. We don't normally see that. Yeah, and again, if there is a weakness, that's that weakness again when the pace is off. It does tend to miss a little bit of precision.
Yes, it'll be harder for her Hanbin from this near side of the court, of course, with the drift. If he's trying to impart pace on the shuttle, there is a distinct possibility with the drift in the arena that he'll hit it long of the back line.
6-4.
And there's confusion when you're in a new partnership. Who goes for the one down the centre? Of course, they will have worked on that with their coaches, but it's got to be instinctive when you're in the match situation.
Yes, it was a good example because a former partner, Zheng Bo, it's not the type of return of serve he would hit, that drive into the back corner. He was more about coming in and either playing, if he was going to play with pace, he'd play to the centre, and if he played to the sides, he took the pace off. So that's a real change for Ma Jin in her positional play.
Five, 6. Play.
Yeah, again, Tao taking the pace off on the mid-court, shuttle below the net, mistake from her Hanbin. Good tactics, forced her Hanbin to the rear court there to create the space. There we see her Hanbin in the rear court, that creates the space on the mid-court, and the mistake comes from below net height.
Do you think potentially Hanbin and Ma Jin are a better partnership than Hanbin and Yang when they won their bronze medal at the Olympic Games in Beijing and silver at the last year's World Championships? Do you see this partnership going further?
I think that's a tough question. I think Ma Jin is a more natural mixed player than Yang, but Yang's such a good match player. She likes the big situations, she enjoys the big tournaments, always at her best in the championship events. So that's a tough one to call. We'll have to watch how it develops this year, I think.
That was a perfect low serve from Jiaming.
Yeah, we can see the tactic, Tao trying to take the pace off on the mid-court, but when Ma Jin's able to intercept, she's got great touch, and that's just another example there.
Service over. 9-6.
Maybe just lost the rhythm on her low serve, maybe taking that extra time in between points when she's preparing to serve has actually just disturbed her more than it's disturbed her opponents.
Yes, that's a really good point, Jill. When you are a good server, it's very dangerous to change your rhythm. You know, and I think Ma Jin's certainly done that today. Probably got good reason, knows her opponents very well, but it's a dangerous thing to do.
Service over. 7-10.
Superb, isn't it? Look at her body posture as she's playing this second net shot, Ma Jin. Imbalance, nice lunge position. Yeah, brilliant.
Yeah, and they're a really dangerous combination. We noticed it yesterday when Hanbin's serving. Ma Jin's in a very aggressive position at the front of the court, and her reactions are very, very quick. She's a very natural front court player. So when he does get a good service in, opponents would normally tend to go past Ma Jin, because the moment you let her in, as we saw there, she's lethal.
Well, managed to extend the rally with some excellent defending, but in the end, the attacking play saw Jiaming and Tian to the mid-game interval with the advantage. 3-point advantage, to be precise. So, Ian, I'm going to ask you the impossible question here. You've been singing the praises of Ma Jin, concur completely. Also, you've been singing the praises of Jiaming and how he's got such variety. Do you think it would possibly... I know that China have been experimenting with changing partners around. The possibility of Jiaming playing with Ma Jin, to me, in my mind, I'm sort of thinking, crikey, given what you've just been saying, that could just be an awesome combination. But, of course, it hasn't been tried yet.
It looks, from the outside, it looks logical, but a lot of mixed play is about personalities. You need the two characters to gel on court and get on well even off the court to be able to sit and discuss what's happening. So we don't actually know the characters of these players. That may have an influence.
too long.
Yeah, and I think the other point with that, Jill, is that we've seen over the years 3 or 4 really world-class lady mixed players from China. And when they get the very natural front court players, what they tend to do is put them with very powerful male players, not so much the skillful players. They put them with the guys that can play with great intensity and keep the shuttle coming down, and power and agility in the rear court rather than touch, because they're looking for the girls to provide that touch. And it seems to be a bit of a Chinese formula for mix then.
Touch the shuttle. Yeah, that's a very interesting point. Of course, I assume you're thinking of Gao Ling playing with Zhang Jun. Ge Fei, now her World Championship winning partner, he was a big, strong player too, wasn't he?
Yes, and then when Zhang Jun finished, of course, Gao Lin went to Zheng Bo, another very strong rear court player. Plays with a lot of intensity, not so much touch. Probably more variety than her Hanbin, but a very strong powerful player.
240, 149 miles per hour. Oh my goodness, isn't that lovely?
Yes, and that's a good example of what Tao's capable of. He is capable of changing the pace, changing the direction. That's a super example there. Ma Jin trying to be very aggressive, looking for the straight interception. Look at her move into the straight. That's great vision.
Lets it drop long.
Service over 10-15.
Oh, crikey. I don't think he thought it was going to be that close. It was long.
10-15.
There's a little change of pace, the interception from Ma Jin that did the damage. That was the one. Tian Qing then at full stretch, backpedaling to get back for the defensive shot.
Yeah, again, poor decision from her Hanbin below tape there. Pace off, and
16-11.
yeah, that was his attempt to change the direction of the play, and not a good trajectory. Left his partner in real trouble there. Same again, her Hanbin below the net. Poor trajectory, giving Tao the easy mid-court interception, and Ma Jin retreating off the net, no chance to defend.
Yes, and also her body language was fairly revealing too. Oh, that's... Oof. Well, the line judge called it in. The umpire made a correction. Not of Malaysia.
Does Ma Jin remind you a little bit of Gao Lin with that? Just the body language, not scared to show what she's feeling on court?
Yes, to a certain extent. I think she's the commander within the partnership, which is certainly what Gao Ling was with Zhang Jun. It's interesting though now that Zhang Jung is now coaching all the mixed doubles players.
Yes, and again, not a great choice from her, Hanbin.
Oh my goodness, that's extraordinary. Well, you talk about good vision. The awareness of where her opponents were placed on court and where the gap was.
Yes, that's where you see when we talk about margin and being a little bit special. That's a good example there. She's just got that peripheral vision that she sees space, she feels space, and she's got the technique to exploit it. But she's being let down a little bit by a partner. Again, she's having to retreat away from the net position because of the choice of shot of her Hanbin. And it's very, very difficult to defend when you're moving backwards. And again, she's been caught there. But it's the choice of a partner that's causing the problems.
That's a good backhand. 7 game
30.
points for Jiaming and Tian to level this mixed doubles final. Longest rally of the match so far.
Tao very patient from the rear court, not forcing the game.
Alan's gone long. Same scoreline as the opening game, but this time in favour of the number 5 seeds, Jiaming and Tian.
21-13. 1 game all.
1 game all, says the umpire, and we will be treated to a third and deciding game. Very patient play, as you say, Ian. Tao in that final rally. 40 minutes of play, and it's 1 game all.
Twenty seconds. 20 seconds.
So at 1 game all in this mixed doubles final.
Play.
The 7 seeds, Hanbin and Ma Jin, having taken the opening game 21-13. But the number 5 seeds, Jiaming and Tian, coming back in the second by the same scoreline. And Ian, you were noticing something in the 2-minute timeout there.
Yes, I know, Jill, you very often talk about the body language of the players, and that was really interesting for me in the break. There's no coaches because it's China v China. Hanbin walking away, trying to collect his thoughts, almost being chased around the court by Ma Jin giving instructions. And when we were talking about her being the boss in this combination, I think there was no better demonstration of it than that 2-minute break. Several times Hanbin's walking away, trying to collect himself. Ma Jin, no, I've got more to say, following him around the court. Really interesting dynamics of this new partnership.
Yes, trying to be over ambitious there, and I think Jiaming with the backhand drive across court.
Ma Jin staying well up the court there towards the end of the second game. Tao trying to take the pace off the attack, not to give Hanbin anything to feed on, and Ma Jin using that to her advantage and stepping in on defence.
Service over. 2-all. All.
Lifted long from Tian Qing.
Service over. 3-2.
Good judgment. Lets it drop long.
Yeah, maybe I'm labouring the point there, but Ma Jin fighting really hard for the attack. And then the moment there's no pace on it to Hanbin, he lifts out of the back of the court rather than trying to join Ma Jin in trying to keep the shuttle short to look for the attack.
Yeah, it's nice play from Tian Qing. We haven't really spoken an awful lot about her, and of course she is Asian Games gold medalist in the women's doubles. But Li Yongbo made a very interesting comment about her and said she's got a flexible style, flexible character, and therefore she can play with anybody. She's shown that in the women's doubles. And given what you were saying earlier about Hanbin and Ma Jin, and they need time to get used to the new partnership, this pair, Tao and Tian Qing, got to the final of their first 3 tournaments together, and that just emphasises how flexible she is to fit in with any sort of partner she's playing with.
Service over.
Yes, sometimes it's difficult to read what's happening within the China camp. We don't get a lot of information, they don't give a lot away to the press, but Tian Qing's a player that's been around the Chinese team for a long time without being selected for the really major championships and without the really big results until last year. But she's obviously someone who Li Yongbo's got a lot of confidence in, because he's kept her in the team when her results haven't been very good. And suddenly last year, with 3 or 4 different partners in ladies doubles, she started to win events, and now she's a different player to me. She's playing with a lot more confidence.
Yes, just to emphasise your points, 5 career titles in women's doubles for Tian Qing with 4 different partners. Oh, that's clever though.
6-4.
And that was after playing for many years with Pan Pan. They were a pair for 4 or 5 years, and suddenly she was able to step up, not having been that successful really with Pan Pan, to win tournaments with several different partners, and that's a real quality, I have to say.
Oh, well, she put that away with venom,
7-4.
sending a message to her opponents.
Yeah, and what a difference when Hanbin uses the block to get his partner in.
Service over. 5-7.
Superb low serve, setting up the rally.
Following up the point with Tian Qing as well, during those years where she was playing ladies doubles with Pan Pan, didn't play mixed. Not a player who played a lot of mixed when she was coming through in her early days with the Chinese national squad. And yet suddenly, here she is, you'd have to say, one of the 4 mixed players in the world.
Yes, and the 2 titles that she has won in mixed doubles have been with Tao Jiaming.
Service over. 8-7.
Look how close Margin is there. Really trying to get in and dominate that front court.
Is fastest of the match so far, I think.
There's a real contrast in the points where Margin gets in and is able to intercept in the front court, and where the shuttle's going through to her Hanbin at the moment. He's really lost his range from the mid-court.
Service over. 9-8.
Yeah, she was pushed so far back in her defensive stance, Tian Qing. Well, when the tall man, Tao Jiaming, is coming forward like that, it must be a daunting sight.
Yeah, good play there. Not scared to come in, a lot of confidence in his partner to leave her in the rear court there. Read the play very well.
Huh?
Yeah, that's his strength. And when he does get the attack, still a formidable player. Margin taking the pace off, forcing the lift. Shuttle above the net. Hanbin obliges.
Well, the umpire just having a word with the players, and especially Tao, saying, come on, you've got to get ready.
Service over. 10-all.
Clever shot from Tian, just pushing past Margin. Margin again looking to move across to the straight. Tian seeing the space and just pushing cross court. Good vision.
Well, confusion in the ranks, and it means that Tao Jiaming and Tian Qing have the narrowest of possible advantages. as the players change ends halfway through this deciding game. And I guess you'd have to favour now Jiaming and Tian now that they seem to be the more favourable end to play as far as doubles is concerned.
Yes, the game's gone with ends so far, but yeah, it's a hard game to read at the moment. I would say Tian and Zhao are the better pair. They've got a better understanding of each other's play and decision making. There's not quite the same combination between her and Ma Jin, but I would say Ma Jin is probably still the most dominant player on the court, so I still wouldn't like to call this game.
11 time play.
Luck of the net cord on the return of serve.
Service over. 11 all.
Yeah, I do take your point, Ian, because I think that Ma Jin, a couple of really exceptional shots from her at exactly the right time, and she is a player that can really influence the outcome of a match. Double hits. Yeah, I can assure you it really takes courage to stand your ground at the net. Ma Jin did there. Looking to come forward. Oh my goodness.
Service over.
That could prove very costly indeed. That's marvellous.
Yeah, lovely touch again from Zhao. Ma Jin not sure whether to stay in or come out. And again, it's the understanding after the return of service between the two players. There's not quite the same combination as on the other side of the net at the moment.
And yet they've both been playing together within these two partnerships exactly the same length of time, same number of tournaments.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. That's where we don't know the characters and the level of communication between them. And mixed is a game where the two players have to talk a lot and have to spend a lot of time together to get things organised. And you need to be able to get on with your partner. And there looks to be a very good understanding between Tian and Zhao, that's for sure.
Interesting that it was Ma Jin's smash that broke down the defence of Jiaming. It's going wide.
Yeah, but I think that's something we're going to see here, Jill. Ma Jin, great competitor. I think she's going to try and take some chances now and try and dictate the play a little bit.
Right on cue.
Yeah, that's good reading of the situation. Several times Tao's tempted her over onto the straight and then crossed. And this time she didn't go too early. Stood her ground in the centre of the court and was able to intercept the cross block. Very, very clever play.
Help. Help.
Great serve from Ma Jin. That means the return's flat, and when it's flat, her Hanbin can put pace on as he likes to do, as he's more comfortable with. Does it there to good effect.
Yeah. And 4 straight points at this crucial stage.
And it's the Ma Jin service.
Wasn't fooled by that. 5 straight points. Indecision. I don't believe it. What a rally. The rally of the match.
18-14.
As the match time just ticks over to the hour mark, and we're still getting badminton of the very highest quality. .257.
How can...
Well, you said, Ian, that Ma Jin was the player who could really stamp her authority on this and determine the outcome. How right you were.
18-14.
6 straight points. And there's the courage of Ma Jin once again, because when Jiaming played the net shots, very few women would have stood their ground and said, well, I'm ready for any reply you'll hit. And she is a very special player. No wonder she's world champion. 6 match points now for her Hanbin and Ma Jin.
over. 15-20.
Probably just a touch of nerves.
15-20.
Won their Super Series title as a pair, but they've still got another 5 opportunities. Oh, goodness, that's outrageous. How can he see the gap there? How does he have the technique to play that? Just superb. It had gone past him. Still the racket head control and the flexibility in the wrist to just guide that across court. So 2 match points saved. But that's pushed long. The victory. First Super Series title to her, Hanbin and Ma Jin as a pair. 21-13, 13-21, 21-16 in the deciding game in an hour and 3 minutes. What superb badminton. And certainly when they changed ends in the deciding game, I favoured their opponents, but all credit to her, Hanbin, and especially to Ma Jin, because she was superb. The final push going long of the back line from Tian Qing. It's the final rally and the moment of victory for the number 7 seeds.
Congratulations to her, Hanbin, and juga Ma Jin from China for the mixed doubles. And I would like to ask you a question. How's the feeling of playing and also beating your fellow countrymen in the final?
嗯，都很正常吧，因为我们在当训练养的吧，因为平时都互有胜负，所以赢输都很正常。
He say it's just normal because normally they play, they also like win and loss, so this is a quite normal outcome.
Okay, one more question. Does it make it easier because you practice with each other on a regular basis? Does it make it easier beating and also playing them and reading their game?
"不会吧，因为平时比较经常打，然后大家都比较熟悉，所以很多在场上就不可能会更加的困难嘛，因为会遇到很多就是各种对方的应变啦，各方面的困难很多。
She say actually not make it easier because they both understand each other very well, so actually it's make harder in the court.
Once again, congratulations to her, Hanbin, and Jo Ma Jin from China on winning the mixed doubles category. Thank you very much.